What is the disturbing backstory behind something that is widely considered wholesome? Sherman Kelly wrote the lyrics to Dancing in the Moonlight while recovering from a violent assault carried out on him and his girlfriend by a youth gang. He envisioned an alternative reality where people just dance and be happy all the time. It was his way of dealing with the trauma. To think that so many people have such good memories from that song though. He really created something beautiful for everyone from his trauma. Access to comfort and reframing traumatic situations in a healthy way is a good way to avoid PTSD too, so could have also been deeply therapeutic. Candyland was invented during the polio epidemic by retired school teacher Eleanor Abbott, who herself was recovering from polio. She invented the game to keep children entertained during their hospital stays who themselves were affected. This was a surprising palate cleanser in the middle of a horror scroll. The song Save the Last Dance for Me by the Drifters was written by a man who was crippled by polio and in a wheelchair watching his new wife dancing with other men at his wedding to her because he couldn't. ETA did not expect this to start such a discussion. As was mentioned below in the song, he's saying that he's the one taking her home, not them. I don't think he's angry, he's just saying that no matter who she dances with, she's his wife and will be taking her home at the end of the night. Canonically, Chuck E. Cheese is an orphan who never knew when his birthday was, so he celebrates other people's birthdays to fill the terrible, painful void of his abandonment. Plus he's a rat. A powerful rat named Charles Entertainment Cheese. For a while, Neopets was owned and operated by Scientologists. They wanted to add religion to it while they had it. So, that guy bought majority stake in them and hired a whole mess of his fellow cult members, and they all ran Neopets together until they sold it to Viacom in 2005 for a crap load of dollars. And then that guy's son played Logan on Veronica Mars. He is also a dollar Scientologist. Voice actor for classic Disney Peter Pan died alone of a drug overdose in an abandoned warehouse after years of being unable to get work in Hollywood later in life. It's even more tragic. Bobby Driscoll couldn't get work as an actor after puberty, so slid into drugs. It really seemed like he tried to continue his acting career. He kept getting small parts, but just couldn't shake the child star image. He got into drugs fairly early on, apparently because after moving to a public school would be bullied for being a child star and couldn't shake that. His body was found in an abandoned warehouse, and when his photo was shown to neighbors to identify him, nobody could, so he was buried in an unmarked grave. The kids' book Love You Forever by Robert Munsch, As Long as I'm Living, My Baby You'll Be, was written in the wake of the stillbirth of the author and his wife's 2 babies. Sadder yet, it was a lullaby he sang to himself to cope years before he wrote it into a book. It's one of the most intimate connections an author's ever made with millions of people. Scottish Folds. Those cute cats with the folded ears. They have those ears because of osteochondrodysplasia. It causes joint, cartilage, and skeletal deformities. There is no treatment, only pain management. Those poor cats are in constant pain, sad face. Resusciani, the rubbery anatomical model we learned CPR on. The face is modeled after the death mask of an unidentified and unclaimed woman who drowned in the Seine River in the late 1800s. Toymaker Asmund S. Lardell chose to use the woman's face on the mannequin as he thought male trainees might be reluctant to kiss a man's face. The face was sculpted by the Norwegian-Danish sculptor Emma Mathiesen. Went to a community event last night and 32 years later, Macarena still fills the dance floor. A bunch of teens learned the dance for the very first time. The lyrics are, of course, in Spanish and about the titular Macarena having a threesome with her boyfriend's friends while he's swearing his military oath. Also interesting is that the band played traditional music primarily, and this was their first pop release in their 50s. They went back to traditional music after. The little girl who played Matilda in the movie Matilda, mom died before the movie was released of cancer. I believe the director showed her a rough cut before she passed, but geez, that made me sad to learn as an adult. Edit. Thank you everyone who reminded me the director was Danny DeVito. I'm pretty sure Danny DeVito and his wife Rhea Perlman, Matilda's parents in the movie, took her in for a bit when this was going on. The weirdest trivia I know about her, Mara Wilson, is her cousin is Ben Shapiro. When I was 10 or so, my sisters and I were doing a common counting rhyme to pick something, maybe who went first in a game. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. My dad walked by and quietly commented, "When I was your age, That word wasn't tiger, but we didn't know better back then. Best Friends Animal Society was founded by Scientology members who formed their own cult spin-off, the Process Church. They associated with Charles Manson and David Berkowitz, with the author of Helter Skelter postulating that Manson was heavily influenced by Process. The rescue was originally a grift to keep their church going. They eventually moved to rescue full-time after realizing how incredibly lucrative and, like their church, tax-free it could be. With $200 million in assets, $314 million in 2024 revenue, and 2 private jets, you can see just how well their grift has paid off. I always prided myself on my ability to stay calm in an emergency and problem solve about the next best action to take, especially because I've struggled with depression and anxiety my whole life. Like, this was an area I knew I could count on myself and other people could count on me too. Friends, family, and colleagues have often commented on it. Then a few years back, when I found a really good therapist to help me deal with PTSD from growing up in an abusive, alcoholic household, she explained that being good in a crisis is a type of trauma response. I'm always in hyperarousal, on the lookout for danger. I've dealt with scary, unpredictable, dangerous situations since I was a kid. Of course I know what to do. I'm still proud of this ability, it just makes me sad to think how I came to have it. Thanks for listening to the end. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment. See you later.